original editor, is she not as prominent as Nella's editor? Is that what the issue was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Nella's editor was older, had been there for years, more established.
Okay.
Because if you remember, they didn't even, the two white women didn't really even kind of click. And Hazel's editor was a little younger, not as experienced as Nella's.
Okay.
And so that was the different. And also, Hazel's editor wasn't always there.
Right.
She was always out.
Yeah.
So she didn't really have anything for Hazel to do. And so Hazel, being this super employee.
Right. It was like she was hired for numbers.
Yeah.
Without really anything for her to do.
Yeah. And so then she starts getting to know and, building a relationship with Nella's editor. And so what eventually happens is Nella's editor have her to read the book. And then...
I didn't get that far. So what, she said something different?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So then it's a thing where now you've told Nella to stand your black ground, stand for your people or whatever. And then when it was her turn to read the book and they had to... And then, so by this time, the owner of the publishing house is involved, and they're all in this meeting. And so the subject of the book comes up, and then when Hazel is like, well, I read it, and I thought he did an excellent job with the characters. And so Nella is sitting there going, really? Really, Trick? Really? This is what you're doing? Right? And so then there's discourse. And what's also happening is there was an editor who was with the company years before. And she was, well known. She was the only black editor. She was really popular. And Nella had, she idolized her. But nobody had ever heard from her again.
Okay.
So that was Kendra and Diane.
Okay.
So back in the day, so that's what happens. They're taking you back and forward between these times. So all we know is that Kendra, something happened. Kendra ended up making one of these statements like all white people, I think it's a whole bunch of BS, and white people, whatever. And so that, of course, exiles her. And she leaves. Nobody ever hears from her again or whatever. So anyway, the whole gist of this book, y'all, and the series, because I remembered, I was like, yeah, because I said, all this over some hair grease?
And that's why I wanted to read it, because I wanted to see how they incorporated the idea of hair grease. Because in Sunny Hostin's book, that's what they talked about. They was like, girl, I just couldn't believe it was the hair grease. And I was like, oh, well, that's what intrigued me. I was like, what is this thing about the hair grease? And so then I go in to read it, and it's like all over the place, and I don't hear one mention of hair grease. And so I'm just like, wait a minute.
Because the hair grease comes toward the end.
Gotcha.
Tell Jackie, hey, Jackie's on.
Hey, Jackie!
So basically, what is going on and what you find out, the whole premise of the book is controlling the mind.
Okay.
Of black people in corporate.
Okay.
And they're doing it with this hair grease.
So Hazel had a subscription.
So what it was, because they started to talk about, because she, in the beginning when she first meets Hazel, she talks about this cream that she recognizes the smell in her hair.
Okay.
Because she has locks.
Right.
She has a lock. And then Hazel brings, she gets to talking about hair like we do. Well, where do you go and what? And so she introduces her to this shop that a girlfriend of hers has. And, just like, oh, you got to come and you got to, even though she had done that to her, they still have some form of a relationship. Okay. And Hazel invites her to this stylist friend of hers that makes her own hair products and all of that.
Now, let me stop you there. I think that's interesting. Because I think one of the issues is that even though we know that all skin folks are not kinfolk, no way I would have continued with her after that situation.
Oh, I wouldn't have either.
And so I think that begs the question of why do we do that? Like why? She literally has basically thrown you under the bus.
Oh, yes.
This is your job. This is your livelihood. Where she's trying to
Mm-hmm.
make her money, and she's completely like throwing her under the bus
Mm-hmm.
and jeopardizing that. And like
Mm-hmm.
now we're still gonna hang out and talk about hair? No,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, well, they had started the hair conversation before all of that.
Well,
so some of this was established before.
Yeah, but it
I'm
would have
trying
stopped.
to think, did she visit the shop? I mean, she started to understand what kind of person she was, but, I think they had a conversation, which made it kind of okay. But then Nella has a really good friend, too.
I forgot her name.
Uh-huh. But she like, oh, no. Mm-mm. And so,
Well, then that's me.
okay.
That's my character.
And so they go to this hair thing. They went to like a group of these ladies. They were hanging out, and this is in the book, because I think it might have been in the series too. But anyway, so they go and they're doing it. They're talking about hair, and they got this grease that they're using, and so they're like, "Well, hey, let us try this in your hair." And Nella's friend is like, "What's in it?" And she was like, "No, you're not going to do it. No, this is not what I want." Because she had already, okay, let me back up. Hazel had already given Nella a sample of it. And Nella hadn't really tried it yet, right? And so they went to this hair thing, and she ended up letting Nella kind of put it in her hair. Letting Hazel put the grease in her hair. And I don't think she didn't really notice anything. But y'all, the whole premise was Hazel, and then so in the book, we keep getting reference to Kendra and Diane, who Kendra was the editor, and Diane was her friend. And Diane had written this book, and the book was a top seller. And so Diane had written it, Kendra had edited it. So they both now are up here in the high rankings because Diane has this great book or whatever. And they were getting notoriety, and then Kendra was like, "Look, this ain't nothing but whatever. And she made this statement, and it got out, and so now she canceled. Right. And she went into seclusion. But in the book, you don't get a good tie-in, and then you start seeing, you remember how you were saying, here's a new character? You start seeing these other characters. So basically, the whole premise of the book was, with this hair grease, if you put it in your hair, it allows you to get along in corporate, get along on the job.
Okay.
You no longer carry the burden of being black.
Okay.
You can go in, smooth, and do whatever it is you need to do, and you're not burdened with all the stuff that we carry as black people.
Okay.
That's what this hair grease. And now you're moving up the corporate ladder because now you're making them comfortable because that's what your movement is based on. Don't let nobody tell you different.
Right.
It's how comfortable you can make them white folk. Okay. How comfortable you can make...
You can just make the people that run the company.
How comfortable you can make them feel, right? And if you can't do that, then you're always perceived as a threat.
As a threat or a problem.
A problem.
Against what the bigger picture is. Because at the end of the day, they're about dollars and cents, and, they're not too concerned with, like a lot of diversity. I mean, they just don't, that's not what is getting them to make their dollars and cents. It's like, so what are we talking about? Like, how is this helping the company? We're just trying to focus on making the company better, Yes. So it's like when someone has to knock on a door, like, oh, okay, well, we're here, and, these are social issues that need to be addressed. Their thinking is like, but this is not a social company. We're here to make dollars and cents, So I just think it's, what is it? Like, they have, it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's always a racial issue all the time as it is, like, a money issue and what to concentrate on to build a business. But, that is a good concept as far as with the grease. I wish I had have been able to get to that point.
I know. It was hard.
That made me want to read it because I wanted to know about this grease.
But that's what it was. And so and it was a controlling mechanism.
Okay.
Because what you end up finding out, and I won't give this away. I'll let everybody, if you want to pick up the book or what. But what you figure out is, all the people that's involved in it.
Okay.
And Hazel is a part of a larger organization. Hazel is a part of a larger organization of women that try to get black women or men, even men, because in the series...
Did Kendra create this company?
No.
Oh,
see, that's what I'm saying, and that's what she was fighting in the end.
Okay.
And so that's what I like.
Well, not Kendra, but the other one, Diane. The one, so I guess my question is, did Diane and Kendra kind of come back together? Or
we don't even, okay, so those were in my notes. There is, in the book, there's no resolution to Kendra and Diane.
Okay.
And, Hazel and Richard are the culprits in the book.
Hazel
right?
and Richard.
Richard is the owner. Richard was the owner, remember? And so that's what I'm saying. So...
It's like it wasn't tied in together, like...
it ties in, but so what you find out is whoever, and this is where in the book I wasn't clear on who was behind the organization with the hair grease.
And it would have really been good if it was someone that kind of had similar experiences and were like, oh, I want to be able to resolve the experiences of black folk in corporate America. Let me start this business with this hair grease that kind of do that. And if it was Diane, which one didn't cause all the commotion with her comment?
Yeah, Kendra could cause the commotion. And Diane is, but see, in the series,
Diane is. Okay.
But you never really know to
book.
me, and maybe I have to reread it if you've read the book and but in the book, you don't really get to who exactly is the head of everything. But in the series, that's why I say the series is a lot better.
Okay.
She's more tied into it.
Okay.
It's that, so what they're doing is, again, this hair grease makes you relax and not carry the burden of being black is really what the hair grease is supposed to do. So you don't have to worry about my hair is straight. Am I not being accepted? You don't have to worry about trying to still stay black and work on the job. The code switching, you don't have to worry about it because you're not code switching. You're just playing along. It clears your mind of the guilt of assimilating in corporate.
So let me ask you, how did she come about with this revelation?
Who?
How did whoever figured out that this grease was doing this, or was it something that Hazel said that it does?
So I think how do they figure out it's the grease? How do they figure out it's the grease? So in the book, okay, there is a black author, right? And he's a man, and he's a militant. He's kind of like that Black Power kind of thing. And so he writes a book, and she's all excited to interview him. And she's like, so you going to talk? He was like, no, I'm not dealing with those issues. I'm dealing with, and she's like, what? I forget exactly how.
Okay.
But she's realizing, once she realizes the grease, she realized that he too. I think what happened, something happened at that party when she first put the grease in her head, and she noticed something. And Hazel ended up having a confrontation with Hazel.
Oh, okay.
And that's when Hazel was like, look, go ahead and accept it. Do it.
Oh, okay.
Do it. Take it, because it helps you to free all of this, and then you're able to move up. If you do this, you'll be able to, assimilate. You'll be able to and you won't carry the burden of all the stuff that we carry as black people.
Okay.
Right? So now that I appreciate it. I appreciated that analogy.
Okay.
And it's like, wow, we do. We carry, as black people, especially black people in corporate, you carry a lot. It's not funny. Those little, and so now this is the thing that the book has done for me.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, so it must be some real hair grease out there, y'all. Because you got black people that are like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I had a young lady. I had a young lady when I was at UPS, came in and well, hey, I can get this done, and I can get, just this overachiever. And her whole thing was to make sure it was before her, it was me and another young black girl in the department. Race wasn't even no issue, because it was enough black people throughout the company that you didn't have to feel like you the only. And then my team, we were like family, black, white, male, women, whatever. I mean, and so not that we were family in that, we went out for drinks and all of that, but it was kind of like a family where you could be like, forget you, kind of thing. And, it's like, but then when we did go, if we did any other time, to me, we were like family and we had each other, but it was still but it wasn't that close thing, right? This young woman comes in. Well, first of all, we got a new female director. And then this young woman comes in, and her whole mission was to make sure she was going to be different than the other two black girls. And even one of my coworkers told me that she had had a conversation with one of our older white coworkers, and he made the comment, well, you're not like those other two black girls. Because she was eager beaver. Let me get the job done. I can do this and I can do. And I'm like, and then I found out she was, unsolicited reporting, well, Rainey comes in every day, but, she gets here at 9, but then she still goes to breakfast. You doing all of this. She had major hair grease in her head.
That's what and so it's interesting that you said that, because I can respect the hair grease kind of releasing the burden that you have. But then when it goes as far as, again, throwing you under the bus or shaming or trying to make
but
other
that's
people...
how you can freely do it and not have a consciousness, because there's no black camaraderie feeling going on.
But then I feel like we could just go to work and do your job. Like, you don't have to be you don't have to be the head of
nope.
what the girl. I know that they don't do it, but I'm just saying, I'm kind of like, even though I work at the hospital, but in a way it's still corporate America.
Oh, well, it's mess wherever you go. I'm finding that out.
But what I'm saying is that I focus on the work, or what I have to do, the job that I'm, and the people that I'm responsible for. What I'm saying is I can do that, and I don't care if this person comes in, this other one comes in late. It doesn't bother me, or I don't care.
Quanda.
I'm just saying, like, why do I have to worry about what somebody else doing?
But Quanda, because you are secure in who you are.
Okay, so the grease is making them insecure.
Well, it's not now.
But it's like you could have that and let the burden away, but there's another part to it when then you're trying to kind of...
But the thing is,
vilify someone else.
So what we don't realize, because, again, we're caught up in the black experience, right? But we don't realize a lot of stuff that some white people do to us on job, they do it to each other. That's just a part of the game.
Right.
I got to come in. So if we all black, if we all in a black department, black company, you still going to have people that's going to come in.
Oh, yeah.
And try to see how they can outperform you so I can be noticed. I can be noticed.
And see, I'm going to tell them, you can stand there and put all the spotlight on you because I don't care.
I know. Oh, okay. And that's the part that they don't realize.
Oh, I don't care.
I didn't care. Because my thing is, I'm the type of person, yes, if I'm working here and I've been here 5-6 years in this position, and somebody new comes in, and they're really smart, and they want to, I know I got to step my game up. It's like, damn, they the new kid on the block trying to shine. So let me make sure I'm on point. I know I got to step my game up. But I don't care enough to try to trip you up.
Right.
Because if I feel like I got to step my game up, that means I know I've really been slacking.
Right.
Right? But now, if I know I'm handling my business and you coming in shining, I'm not going to be bothered by you.
Right.
What I don't understand, and I'm going to hold that thought. So that's the part, although she tried to trip her up, we look at it as a black-white thing. But that's just a part of her trying to career step. That's a part of her looking out for her career. And the fact that she had that grease in her head, it ain't a black-white thing.
Okay.
If we were all black, she would have done the same thing.
Gotcha.
It's like, how can I make sure I look better than you?
Okay.
And to me, like you just said, people who feel they need to do that are not secure in themselves, and they're not secure in the skill sets that they supposedly have. Because when I go to a company, and I start working somewhere, I know what skills I have. You hired me based on these skills that I have coming in here. So I'm going to be trying to learn from everybody. I ain't got time to be trying to outshine you, because no matter what you do, and this may be in the medical profession too, and you can answer. So you have certain standard things that you do, but don't you have to adjust some of them depending on what doctor office you work in?
Well, mostly in the hospital, it's supposed to be evidence-based. So whatever the evidence has said based on, research and stuff. But, I mean, in more private practices, it's not necessarily evidence-based, if you know what I mean. But then that's not necessarily good because,
Okay, so
it's kind of different.
It is different.
Yeah.
So the example I am trying to make is, I'm an instructional designer. I create training material. I have a certain way, I use a certain application to do it. And I got my style. I got how I do it. But I may be good at it at this company doing it this way, but this company has a different process in how they really get it done. Yes, I'm using the same application, but this company may require me to use a certain template when I'm designing. My last company was, they might have not had it. So I'm saying that to say, when you going into a job, to me, I'm too busy trying to understand the processes and procedures,
how you operate,
how you operate,
right,
so that I can do my job effectively. I don't have time to be trying to look at and look at your skill sets. But somewhere in the last 20, 30 years, it was encouraged that people go in and start analyzing when you're trying to move up. See what your skill sets are. Who's the weak person on the team? Who's this person on the team? And that's what a lot of A players, alpha people do, because they're trying to see who's going to be the person that I already know I'm higher than, and who's going to be the person that might know as much as me and might be the threat. It's the same thing we see on reality TV, which is why I don't really like a lot of that, because that is what you get when you going into corporate America. And that's what Hazel was. Okay, let me go in here. Let me make, the boss, the director, the manager feel like I'm the better candidate.
Okay.
Right?
And I guess in healthcare, everything should be standardized. Like, everybody should know the same thing.
Yeah, so
yeah.
But you still have people that still gonna kiss up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's
for sure.
And try to outshine everybody else, and that's what it is.
Right.
But for Black people, we have so many other concerns. We're trying to make sure that we're respected. We're trying to make sure that I'm representing my culture. Or, we got and that's what this hair grease freed them of.
Gotcha.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to be, you be.
Right.
And it's not, like with our hair, our natural hair, when we first were going natural. It's not straight. Are we threatening them? And then you find out, hell, they love our hair more.
And, I always thought that. I think that was something, I feel like it's something that you kind of like the culture put on themselves as a way that, because someone had a philosophy of thinking that, it should be this way so you could be more accepted in corporate America, whereas you realize they don't really care, or they're fascinated. Oh, your hair was this way.
Well,
and last week, is this still your hair?
Well,
wow.
Well, now I will say this. I don't get excited about their compliments, because you're going to tell me one thing. No, because you will tell me one thing and then turn around when I'm being considered for a promotion and be like, well, her hair is cute, but I don't know if it's quite a
okay.
When I tell you, corporate America has been like being in an abusive relationship for
I
all
believe
these
it.
years,
Mm-hmm.
and me constantly trying to go back. But the irony
We
is,
need to be entrepreneurs.
yes, and the irony is, I went to nonprofit.
It's the same thing.
They are crazier.
Right. And I can believe that because I feel like they are not almost held to the same standards as
They're
far
not.
as federal in the sense of, best practice as being employers to people. And I found that experience, and I used to always wonder like why like outside of the hospital, like in smaller like doctors offices, it's
Mm-hmm.
worse than working in a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought, well, maybe it's because when we're in the hospital or in the ICU, we got too many other things to focus on,
Uh-huh.
whereas in a clinic based area they don't have a lot of critical things to deal with, so
Mm-hmm.
all the ridiculousness comes out, the pettiness comes out.
Oh my God, petty.
So maybe it's just, I don't know. Like I can tell that there's a difference,
Oh my God.
and it's, yeah.
Oh my God.
That's why I was like, let me go back to the ICU because this
Oh
is
my
ridiculous
God.
over
Oh my
here.
God. Oh my God. I mean, I'm in meetings going, you can't be mad. See,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. It's a surreal experience, Quanda.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm saying, like, you just said that?
Mhm.
Did you just say that?
And now I understand why, like, there's still a need for like lawyers that deal with employees, and why people still get
Mm-hmm.
sued and stuff. And because
Mm-hmm.
you think, oh, this is 2024, people should know how to behave, that this wouldn't happen. But in these smaller
Mm-mm.
businesses, these
Ooh. Mm.
clinics,
Mm-mm.
they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess. I can still see why big businesses or small businesses are still being sued for things that you thought was handled in the 60s.
Woo. It's not a racial thing. I
No,
don't feel.
no,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
saying.
no.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying employee, like just the benefits
Oh,
and that
the
fair act.
toxic environments, hostile work
Yeah,
environment. Oh, Lord
not
Jesus.
just even sexual harassment, but just regular harassment,
Ooh.
bullying. Because these are the same people that grew up, who were kids that were bullies and grew up to adults to become bullies.
Ooh.
You know,
Ooh. That's
so
all I'm gonna say because
they
I've been
carry
drinking wine.
that same mentality and
Mm-hmm.
behavior into
Mm-hmm.
adulthood. Mm-hmm.
And what we have to realize, I think this is what I realized, is people have so many emotional issues.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm gonna say. If you in a situation where you are just being and you just like, what the what? Why are they treating me like this? All I'm trying to do is come in and
Kinda
just
go to
do
work.
my job.
Right.
What you have to know, let me tell y'all what God gave to me. And everybody have their religious beliefs, so I'm just talking about mine. No disrespect for anybody. But this is what God showed me. And I was like, wow, thank you, Jesus. I know we say Jesus God, but whatever. Um, that in the book, in the Bible, when it says we fight not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities. And I'm sure you've heard, and a lot of people say, there's spirits and energies that's floating around us every day,
Mm-hmm.
all the time. It's spirits and energies out there. Can't say who they are, what they are, but there are energies out there. And that's why you have to keep yourself uplifted, keep your mind positive, because what happens is for those people that's downtrodden or just, right? Those spirits attached to you, those negative spirits out there attached to you, which causes you to act out against people, right? And so that's why I say I'm not fighting with Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Jane is nasty to me. Jane is rude to me. What have I done to Jane?
Mm-hmm.
It's to keep all of that negative energy flowing.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got to do is you got to go, okay, whatever's on her, pray for her. And keep your distance and keep yourself. Because when you understand that, that's a whole graduation in life.
But we can let Jane know that we got a boundary, respectfully.
You can let Jane know, but then sometimes, because you got to understand, these are spirits now.
Mm-hmm.
And you trying to be good, and that spirit wants you where they are.
Well, I'm not trying to be good. I'm only gonna keep it professional with Jane, but I'm gonna let Jane know she can't raise her voice at me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then that's
but
the
we
other
gonna
part.
keep it respectful.
That's that other part. That's that Christian part where you say, well, you know what? I'm just gonna give it to God. And Terry is like, y'all always saying that, but you need to say something. But you have to pick your battles, and you have to know what's important. And when you, in my current situation, what I've done is I've realized, that ain't nothing to play with. I'm not gonna go down to their level.
Yeah,
I'm not
don't go to their level.
I'm not going to even, and when I say go to their level in this particular situation, it's a thing of pettiness,
right?
cattiness.
Yeah.
So if I react to something that you just did, that's gonna take me down that petty catty lane. I don't do petty cat, and I don't do cat.
Right.
I don't do that. I'm
not saying reacting, but I can respectfully let you know, hey, chill. Can you lower your voice? We're having a conversation. I know you're frustrated, but we need to control our emotions.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm talking to you like this.
Yeah, with a smile.
Yeah.
I found out that's the way.
Let's control our emotions.
Yes.
I have a question. I'm new here.
Yes.
Okay. So like that. But no, I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. But you're gonna know that at some point, you know that it's not gonna be copacetic.
So back to the book, you would ask yourself, would you use that hair grease? Do you think you would use that hair grease?
To be honest, some people, if it was real, they probably would think that I do use the hair grease because I don't carry the burdens. I don't. But then the same token, that's why I was like, I go in and do my job, but then I'm not trying to sabotage someone else.
Well, see, that's the thing.
I don't have that part of me.
You don't carry the burdens necessarily, but so what this hair grease does, and which some people have done, is even when they got those little corny jokes, and you know that you being disrespected from a racial perspective.
Oh, that's different.
See, that's what I'm saying. So you don't have that. So would you?
But then there's a way I'm going to handle it. Am I going to handle it like somebody did in Techwood? No. Techwood Homes, if you're from Atlanta, you know what that is. No, I wouldn't handle it like that. But we may take a visit together to HR.
Yeah.
And things may be...
But see, that's what the grease frees you of carrying that burden.
I don't think, to me, again, that has to do with providing an environment of where I can feel comfortable in and do my job. I can't do my job if I feel like there's some hostile environment. You know what I'm saying? That's impeding me from doing my job. So now they're messing with the employers, a bigger goal. Because, see, I'm going to go in there and show you how me being affected affects the goal or the mission for the company.
Oh, in the department.
In the department, because I'm a team player and I'm here for the business, And then them behaving that way is not for the company and not for the business.
Well, yeah, so you're not hair grease, Quanda. I can tell.
I'm not going to be play with like that, because then we can get lawyers involved. We can do those things, but as far as trying, like Nella was like creating, let's do this, she was ahead of not the pro-black, but she was ahead of some coalition to get more black, to recruit more black people.
She was conscious.
Yeah, I'm coming there to do my job. Like, I only care about the green for myself, so I can do what I need to do.
But still, as far as corporate America is concerned, Quanda, you're not doing that. Like, say for instance, at UPS, we had several companies have what they call business resource groups or affinity groups, especially after the George Floyd situation.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been on any of those.
Yeah, so I was. And you had people, you wouldn't have been on it. Why would you have not? So like at UPS, we were the AABRG, African American Business Resource Group. Why would you not have joined?
But what did y'all do and focus on and talked about, first of all?
Well, we tried to have, like, of course, during Black History Month, we had events all through Black History Month.
Okay.
We volunteered for different things, in the community. And and we provided. So we had the African American Resource Group, but then we had subcommittees up under the group.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Community Connections.
Okay.
So we had so many volunteer hours that we were supposed to have, each group.
Mm-hmm.
Not we didn't have specific hours, but volunteer activities that we should be participating in. So that, because UPS was big on volunteering at that time.
Okay.
And so I would coordinate different events, but I concentrated on the African American community because we're the African American Business Resource Group. So, and then we had shirts with the emblems. I was just active in that way.
I like that.
Why would you not have joined?
So that's different. That's kind of showing. That's kind of exposing blackness and the level that you could reach to a community of people that may not see this every single day, that may not have these people that work in this company or have these positions. Yeah, exactly.
With them. Yes.
So that is cool. You know what I'm saying? But I guess that, to me, that's a purpose. It's not just about sitting and complaining about what is not here. You know what I'm saying? And kind of, so that's completely different.
Okay.
That I would have.
But we had black people, African Americans at UPS who wouldn't, because they didn't feel like they would be able to advance in their career if they joined the AABRG. That's the hair grease. That's what the hair grease would do. And that's the kind of thing, because again, you're assimilating, you're trying to relate more to make them more comfortable.
Do you think that program made them uncomfortable? Because it wasn't like you guys were saying, oh, you guys are wrong. I feel like from just what you were telling me, you were just trying to give exposure to a underserved community. And then if people were really smart about it, it's a free advertisement about UPS, because look how McDonald's does kids. From the time that you're small, it's about McDonald's. Even as an adult, you think sometimes McDonald's, ooh, those fries. You have that. I had McDonald's fries today. So what I'm saying is it's about a brand. Yeah. It's a part of their branding.
Yes,
so a part
definitely.
of them expanding their branding, UPS, is having these outreach programs, which shouldn't hinder you from advancing. But they didn't see it like that.
But because of the mentality of some black people
So
on jobs.
they didn't even really understand what the purpose was.
But they didn't feel like, and then they knew the people that they worked for. Well, why are you a part of that? You want to.
And then you say it's exposure, and it helps expose UPS to the community.
For those that are trying to, and I'm going to talk about you, Cal. He don't hear me. I'm going to talk. Well, I shouldn't have said his name. I'm sorry. I had a friend. It's the wine. I'm talking. I had a friend.
Alcohol.
I had a friend who worked for a company, a major corporation. I'm not gonna say the name. And he was in a meeting, and he's from he's from one of the Virgin Islands. I never can remember which one he is. And he said in the meeting, it was she might have even been Asian, but anyway, she was of the other nationality, the cream nationality. And she made a comment in that meeting. So, does your family live in trees? Some kind of comment.
Live in trees?
Trees.
Oh.
She made a comment like that. He had the hair grease because he let it go because he was trying to move up the corporate ladder. And he did the little kiki. He didn't go to HR. That same woman later tried to get rid of him. And I said, you can't go to HR now. Because just like whoever calls the police department first wins. I forgot where I learned that. I think I was watching some kind of program.
I picked that
It's
up.
like you always be the first one to call 911. No, it wasn't divorce court. It wasn't. It was some television show. And I was like, oh my God, really?
I picked
or
that
it might
up
have been a book.
Working.
Yeah, but you always got to be the one to call 911 first. On these jobs, you always need to be the one to go to HR first, because you got to think about it like this. If I go to HR first, everything they say now is in reaction to what I've said and can be questionable.
Right. And then the person on these jobs, like what I found is that the person, they don't always go after the aggressor. It's if you retaliate.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they become the aggressor and then instead of reacting to them, you go to HR, that's different than they being the aggressor and then you retaliating. Does that make sense?
After the fact, and you haven't gone to HR first.
Right. So if they do something aggressive towards you, you may not respond, but you need to go to HR.
Go to HR and then retaliate. No,
exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Well,
no, I don't want anybody.
Well, you retaliate with HR as you're behind your back.
Oh, and that's the
how
thing.
You
got to think strategically on these jobs, y'all. When you get these hair grease people, or you get people just in general who are coming after you and you honestly know you haven't done anything, you have to think strategically. I told somebody, I shared this. This is something that I did to someone. She was bothering me. She was trying to bully me. You know, she was really trying to bully me. And I said, okay, I got something for you. I didn't try to fuss with her and argue with her. And then we would have ended up in a fight, both losing our jobs, right? I sat down and I wrote a letter to the president of the school because it was one of those schools.
Hello?
And I implied that she was sexually coming on to me. I sure did. When I tell you this woman was furious. See, because she was coming at me trying to kind of intimidate, because what she did, she blocked the door. Hey, Stacey, because I wasn't.
That is a little weird.
Yeah, no, but what had happened was, it was the director had left. She had left the company, and I was really good friends with the director.
Okay.
And they knew that. And so now she wasn't there. They felt like, oh, we can mess with Stacey now. And I think that's what she thought she was doing. And so one day, you know, I would still speak, but I kept my distance because I knew how messy they were, right? And so one day she gonna block the door. Hey, Stacey, like, you know, you trying to intimidate me because she was a little taller and she was larger. Hell, I couldn't fight her.
Right.
I probably could, but I might have not would have won.
Right.
Right. And so I said, okay, I got something for her. And I did. I wrote this little innocent. I wrote this little innocent letter saying, you know, I encountered this once before, and I don't know if she's trying to come on to me, but I'm not that type of person. I wrote this real. When I tell you when he called us in that meeting, she was like, I ain't gay. I don't know what you, how would, and I was like, but I just didn't know. But I bet that heifer didn't mess with me no more.
Period.
Knocked it right out the park. And so that's what I'm saying. You have to find ways.
Right.
Other than being confrontational.
Exactly.
To get somebody back. But that's the most hilarious thing. I was like, I came up, I wrote that letter, and I put my heart and soul in. I'm just so innocent. I just don't want, you know, it happened to me once before. I thought we were friends, and then it turned into something else. I don't want this to happen in this situation.
Right. I don't want to blur any lines.
I mean, I can get you back.
Right.
It's a lot goes on in this head. People just don't understand. All the stuff that goes on up in here that I could do to people and how I have thought things to do to people. I have to pray for myself because I'm serious. It's a lot be going up on up here. Y'all say the hair cute, but under this hair, it be a lot going on. A lot going on. But anyway, so overall, because we reaching the end. Oh, yeah, the end. I don't want, and like I said, I'm not criticizing. Hopefully it's a constructive criticism of the book. But I have spoken to several people. I saw you go through it, and then I asked Shondo. I talked to Shondo, and I talked to a couple of other her book club members.
Okay.
And everybody said the same thing of, I couldn't get through it. And then I said, this is truly a situation. So would I say don't buy the book? No, because everyone is different. I'm sure there may be some people out there. Shamita Hamilton, hey, thank you for joining us.
Hi.
There are other people out there that may have read the book and really liked it.
Yeah.
You might read the book and really like it, but I will stand solid, 4 feet, no, 2 feet, 10 toes down, that the series is a lot better than the book.
Okay.
They go into more because in the series, you have a resolution. Because again, I think there's going to be a season 2 The way
Okay.
the series ends lets you know that it's going to be a season 2.
Okay.
The book doesn't end like the series
Right.
ends.
Okay.
The book ends. Well, I won't tell you how the book ends because I don't want to get. I gave you enough information, hopefully, to spark your interest. And now that you know, hey, you're gonna have to be patient with it. It's like a lot of details. The back and forth didn't bother me because it gives you the backstory behind where they are now. What I did not like is that she really did not give any resolution to Kendra and Diane.
Mm. It's like she just happened to mention them.
Yeah, and then you're left with how it ends, and then you got the prologue, and that didn't help. So and like I said, hey, she's made money. She is doing very well for herself. But there's so much more that could have been to this book because I'm so used to people saying the book was better than the series. Or the book gives you more backstory on so and so you understand this better than what you got out of the series or the movie. And this is just my first instance where I will say, watch the series. You get the whole gist of it. I mean, it's just because the book, I think, will frustrate you.
Now, do we have something else lined up?
Yes, we do. So, what I want everyone to do is to go out and get the book Philona Mabel by Ken Bivens. I had I had Ken on my show when I first started. I think Ken was I think he was my second or third guest. And we talked about a book that he had written years ago called Pious, and it was written very well. And so I am super, super proud of myself because I read the book. I didn't do Audible with this one. And I read the book on the cruise, something I had not done before.
Okay.
Where I just take time to sit and read a book. So I got a chance to do that. I actually finished the book on the cruise.
What genre is this?
It is adult. It's Philona Mabel is about a character who is dealing with mother issues. And it's the I didn't bring it with me. It's actually the wedding, something wedding of Philona Mabel. But if you look for it on Philona, FELONAMABEL, Philona Mabel by Ken Bivens. That's going to be my next book that we're going to talk about next. Well, I can't tell you when we're going to talk about it because I just called Ken today, so I'm waiting for him to call me back. But I just really think if you are someone who have experienced communication and relationship issues with your mother, this is a book you should read. Especially if you are a child of a disdained relationship. Your father is of a disdained relationship, and you now are, the child of that, and you may have had some negative energies from your mom. This is a book you need to read because we got a lot to talk about, y'all. A lot to talk about with this one. It was written very well, and I enjoyed it, and I like the way it was resolved, the ending, how everything ends. But it encourages you to say, okay, you know what? Maybe it's some things I didn't understand. Because that's the one thing that we find out with our parents. When you don't understand what some of the decisions they made or they make, you won't understand what they are until you become an adult, until you become a parent yourself. And then you go, oh.
So and consider the age they may have been when they were making these adult decisions.
Definitely.
So tell them where they can find the book.
So you can find the book on Amazon. Okay. It's Ken, Kenn Bivens, BIV as in Victor, ENS. Okay. And it's Philona Mabel. So go ahead and get it. Next week, I'll let you know when we're actually going to discuss it because I want this to be a book club thing. And I'm going to start trying to promote a little bit more. I'm a sister trying to work and trying to have this thing going on. But anyway, I'll try to promote it more, but hopefully Ken is going to give me a call back. Well, I know he will, or else I'll keep calling him. It's no big deal. And we'll get a date. And so hopefully next week I'll be able to let you know when. But in the meantime, I'm telling you, if you're looking for something to read, get this book. Especially if you're someone who has been through this, or, like you say, you're a child of a situation that might have not been the greatest for your mom. She had you anyway, and then you had to pay for it your whole life. But so, it's going to be a really good conversation because this was a good one. But anyway, y'all, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of our podcast. This is my therapy. Yes, it is. It's my therapy. It helps me. And I appreciate each and every one of you all who join me. We got great books coming down the line. I'm going to promote more so you'll be more aware. But to go ahead and go get Philona Mabel on Amazon. Ken Bivens. And get to reading that one so we can have a good discussion on that one.
All righty.
All right. Thank you, Quanda, again for joining me.
Absolutely. I had a great time.
We will see you. And as I always say, keep reading to feed your mind. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Lawrence Prescott Photography. I'm smiling, I'm laughing because, God, I know what I'm talking about. Lawrence Prescott Photography. That's the only person you need to call when you're ready to take your pictures. You want those pictures to come out right. You want those pictures to last forever. You want your best picture taken? Lawrence Prescott Photography. He does private events, in studio also, and outdoor photography if you need. Photography is what Lawrence Prescott does, and he's really